The scent of lemon polish was more than a smell. It was a ghost, a desperate lover clinging to my skin, its sharp, astringent perfume woven into the very fabric of my being. My back throbbed with a familiar, bone-deep ache as I worked the wax into the long, solid expanse of oak. The dining table was less a piece of furniture and more a landscape, a dark, silent river carving through the cavernous heart of the penthouse. Each slow, rhythmic circle of my cloth was a meditation in monotony, the only sound the soft, whispering kiss of cotton on waxed wood. Beyond the wall of glass, a persistent late autumn rain tapped its gentle, erratic rhythm, smearing Chicago's glittering grid into a weeping watercolor of gray and gold far below. For months, it had been 4 months since I'd first stepped into this suspended fortress of glass and steel, and with every polished surface, every silent, opulent room, the feeling never faded, the jarring dissonance of an intruder, a mouse scurrying through a priceless museum long after closing hours. "Lena, the East Suite still requires your attention." Mrs. Grant's voice cut the quiet, crisp and clean as a snapped stalk of celery. I didn't need to look up. I knew her silhouette, the ramrod posture, the silver hair in a knot so severe it seemed to pull the very wrinkles from her temples, her eyes missing nothing. "Mr. Hayes has guests arriving tomorrow evening. Everything must be flawless." My gaze remained dutifully fixed on the wood grain I traced, my hands moving in their practiced, unceasing rhythm. "Yes, ma'am," I murmured, the response automatic. "I'll finish here and attend to it directly." I listened to the precise, receding click of her sensible heels on marble, a sound that measured out my servitude. Only when the silence had swollen to fill the space again did I allow my shoulders to sag, just for a stolen breath. My hand, moving of its own volition, drifted from the table's cool surface to press against the subtle, firm curve of my abdomen, hidden beneath the forgiving drape of my standard-issue uniform. It had become a touchstone, a secret communion. Beneath the dark fabric, a separate life was quietly asserting its presence. 5 months along now. A daughter. My daughter. And, in a truth he was blissfully unaware of, his daughter. It was a live wire humming just beneath my skin, a truth with the power to detonate the fragile, invisible existence I'd constructed here. Gathering my supplies, I moved into the kitchen, a realm of clinical, intimidating perfection. My own reflection wavered back at me, distorted and ghostly, in the mirrored surface of a commercial-grade oven. Dark, bruise-like semicircles shadowed my hazel eyes, the testament to sleepless nights and morning sickness meticulously concealed. My chestnut hair was scraped into a ruthlessly practical bun, not a single strand permitted to stray. In 4 months, I had elevated invisibility to an art form, learning to move through these rooms of staggering wealth not as a person, but as a utility, a silent extension of the dust cloth and the polished bottle. The irony was a constant, metallic taste on my tongue. My hands touched everything that belonged to Isaac Hayes, the fine Egyptian cotton of his sheets, the lead crystal tumblers, the butter-soft leather of chairs he never seemed to occupy. I knew the texture of his world by heart, and yet he had never once seen me, which was, of course, the entire, terrifying point. The cruel twist of the narrative was my constant companion. 8 months ago, my world had been different. I hadn't known the name Isaac Hayes, not truly. I'd known Ian Holt, charming, disarmingly attentive, with a smile that genuinely reached his eyes. A businessman I'd met while working a temp job serving champagne at a lakeside charity gala. We talked for 20 minutes about art, about the unseasonable chill on the lake, about nothing and everything. He'd made me feel clever and seen. One night, that was the entirety of it. A single, reckless night in a hotel room where the city lights had sprawled below us like a bed of scattered diamonds. Then, come morning, he was simply gone. Vanished as completely as a dream, leaving behind only the faint scent on the pillow and a hollow ache of foolish hope. No note, no number, just the crisp, searing memory of his touch and the slow-burning humiliation of being so easily discarded. I'd folded the hurt away, tucked into the daily calculus of rent and groceries, and moved forward. Until the pregnancy test. And then, the slow, chilling discovery. A profile in a glossy financial magazine left in a waiting room. The familiar face now smiling beside a different, more formidable name. Isaac Hayes. Not a simple businessman, but a man of significant, whispered about influence. By then, the decision was already rooted in the bedrock of my soul. The baby was mine to protect. A soft, fluttering sensation, like bubbles rising in champagne, shifted beneath my ribs. The baby kicked, a gentle but insistent reminder. My miracle, my terrifying, wondrous burden. Mrs. Grant indicated you were falling behind schedule. The voice, deep, quiet, underpinned by a smooth, almost melodic cadence, froze the very air in my lungs. I knew that voice. I'd heard it only in fragments, echoing from his home office during late-night calls, or issuing calm directives in the private garage. Never directed at me. Never in this stifling proximity. Slowly, as if moving through chilled honey, I turned. Isaac Hayes stood in the arched kitchen doorway, one shoulder leaned with casual authority against the frame, as if he owned the very atmosphere. And, of course, he did. Dressed in a suit of charcoal wool that appeared woven directly onto his form, he was a portrait of effortless, contained power. He looked like he'd stepped from the pages of a monograph on command. But it was his eyes that arrested me, dark, intense, sharply intelligent. They weren't cruel, but they were profoundly, unnervingly assessing. They told a story far more complex than the tailored fabric or the platinum watch on his wrist. Mr. Hayes. I dropped my gaze immediately, a reflex trained by Mrs. Grant and the unspoken hierarchy of this house. My fingers found the cool, solid edge of the granite counter behind me, clinging to it as an anchor. You're new here, he stated. It wasn't a question, but an observation filed away in a formidable mental catalog. For months, sir, I replied, my voice thankfully steady, betraying none of the frantic drumming of my heart against my ribs. His gaze didn't waver. It swept over me, a calm, analytical inventory. I fought the primal urge to fold my arms over my stomach, to shield the secret growing there. Instead, I forced my spine a little straighter, my hands to my sides, the very picture of deferential efficiency. You look familiar, he said after a beat, a faint crease of concentration appearing between his brows. The air in the kitchen seemed to thin, growing insubstantial. I don't think so, sir. I managed, the words feeling thick and clumsy in my tightening throat. I primarily work the daytime shifts when you're at your offices. He made a non-committal sound, a mere vibration in his throat, then glanced at his watch, a gesture that spoke of a world where time was a currency more valuable than anything surrounding us. Carry on, then. Relief, cold and sharp as a shard of glass, washed through me as he turned to leave. I began to release the breath I'd been holding. But he paused after only 2 steps, half turning back, his profile etched against the gray light from the windows. The East Suite, he said, his tone shifting into something oddly contemplative. There's no particular rush. I've canceled my appointments for tomorrow. He delivered the information as if commenting on a change in the weather, then his dark eyes found mine once more, holding them for a fraction of a second too long. See that it's done by week's end. And then he was truly gone, his footsteps swallowed by the thick runner in the hall, leaving behind only the faint, clean scent of his cologne, sandalwood and something crisply indefinable, and the deafening, frantic thunder of my own heart, echoing in the sudden, profound silence he left in his wake. The sanctuary of my small Bridgeport apartment was a 40-minute commuter rail ride away, a journey that felt like crossing between worlds. My sister, Lena, was already home, still in her nurse's scrubs, the scent of hospital antiseptic clinging to her. You look like you've been run over, she said, her sharp eyes immediately dropping to my stomach. Rough day. He spoke to me today, I admitted, collapsing onto our sagging sofa. The words felt dangerous, just saying them aloud. I recounted the brief, charged encounter, the weight of his gaze, the unsettling familiarity he'd claimed. Nina's face paled, her professional calm evaporating. Lena, this is a powder keg. If he connects the dots, if he finds out. He won't, I insisted, the mantra wearing thin. I'm part of the scenery to him, a appliance that moves, invisible. But even as I said it, the memory of his eyes, that analytical, penetrating stare, refused to be dismissed. It hadn't felt like looking at an appliance. It had felt like being examined under a microscope. The next morning, a new layer of dread was waiting. Mrs. Grant assembled the morning staff with unusual gravity. A change in today's schedule, she announced. Mr. Hayes will be working from the residence. Lena, you are to attend to the main living areas and the study. Her gaze was impenetrable. He specifically requested you. A cold knot tightened in my stomach. The other staff flicked glances my way, a mix of curiosity and uneasy pity. The main living areas meant proximity. The study meant his space. I cleaned with mechanical precision, the penthouse fallen into an eerie, watchful quiet, broken only by the low, indistinct murmur of voices behind the closed door of his office. Near noon, the door finally opened. 3 men in suits that screamed quiet money filed out, nodding to Hayes, who stood in the doorway. I became intensely interested in the arrangement of lilies in a crystal vase across the room, my head bent low. Lena. His voice, carrying across the open expanse, felt like a physical touch. I looked up, my hands freezing on a stem. Coffee to my office. Black. Nothing else. Right away, sir. In the kitchen, my hands trembled so violently, I sloshed hot water onto the saucer. This was the precise scenario I had meticulously avoided for months. Direct service. Confined space. His undivided attention. I checked my reflection, ensuring the uniform still hung loosely, disguising my truth. Balancing the delicate china on a tray, I approached the office door as one approaches a gallows and knocked softly. Come in. Isaac Hayes sat behind a vast, minimalist desk of bleached walnut, his back to a breathtaking panorama of the city skyline, now steel gray under the heavy sky. The room was a temple to control, a single stark painting, shelves of imposing legal volumes, everything in its exact, severe place. I set the coffee down carefully on a leather coaster, eyes fixed on the task. Will there be anything else, sir? Look at me. The command, softly spoken, sent an electric shiver straight down my spine. Slowly, against every instinct, I raised my gaze to meet his. He studied me with that same unnerving focus, his expression a cipher. I know we've met before, he stated, his tone leaving no room for doubt. My heart gave a sickening stutter. Sir, I never forget a face. He leaned forward slightly, elbows on the desk. Especially one with your particular distinctness. I fought to keep my features placid, a mask of polite confusion, even as panic clawed its way up my throat. Perhaps you've seen me in the building, sir. Or at the service entrance. A slight, utterly humorless smile touched his lips. Perhaps. He lifted the cup, took a measured sip, and gave a curt nod. That will be all. The wave of relief was dizzying. I turned, my hand reaching for the door handle, freedom inches away. Then catastrophe. The toe of my shoe caught on the edge of the luxuriously thick Persian rug. I stumbled forward with a gasp, throwing out a hand to brace myself against the wall. The sudden, jerking movement sent a sharp, lancing pain through my lower abdomen. A second, entirely involuntary gasp escaped me, my other hand flying to cradle the protective curve of my belly. Behind me, the harsh scrape of a chair being violently shoved back tore through the quiet. Lena. I straightened instantly, but it was too late. I turned to find him standing, his entire being focused on where my hand remained splayed over my stomach. Understanding dawned in his dark eyes, swift and cold, followed by a dawning calculation that turned my blood to ice. You're pregnant. It was not a question. Yes, sir. The whisper was barely audible. His jaw tightened. Does Mrs. Grant know?
No.
The admission was torn from me. I've been discreet. He began to circle the desk, his movements slow, deliberate, predatorily quiet. How far along? My mouth was desert dry. 5 months. Something flickered in his eyes, a rapid, mental arithmetic. I watched, helpless, as he counted back the months. Saw the exact, brutal moment the timeline connected, the moment realization struck him with tangible force. His gaze snapped back to my face, and for the first time, he was truly seeing me. The charity gala. The Wilkes Foundation benefit at the Drake. You were the server who saved a tray of champagne from an expensive disaster. His voice was soft, almost musing, but each word was a nail. The world tilted on its axis. I should get back to my work, Mr. Hayes. I reached again for the door, but his hand shot out, his palm slamming flat against the polished wood, holding it shut. He was close now. Too close. The clean, expensive scent of him surrounded me, triggering a visceral avalanche of memory. Who are you? The question was a low, dangerous thrum. Trapped between the solid wall of his presence and the unyielding door, I felt the flimsy walls of my constructed life crack. I told you, Lena Moore, your maid. That night, you told me your name was Lena Shaw. I use my mother's maiden name sometimes. I lied, the taste bitter on my tongue. For privacy. He was silent for a long, suffocating moment, his eyes dropping to the undeniable swell of my abdomen, then back to my face. Something dangerous shifted there, not hot anger, but a chilling, analytical coldness that was somehow worse. And the father? He asked, his tone deceptively casual. I swallowed against the dryness. Not in the picture. Is that so? He leaned in, his arms still braced against the door, caging me. An interesting coincidence, then, that you would find employment in my home. At this particular time. I needed a job with health insurance. I said, the unvarnished truth, my only shield. The agency placed me. I didn't choose it. A firm, authoritative knock fractured the tension. His security chief, Marcus, spoke through the wood. Boss, the call from New York is on the line. They say it's urgent. Isaac's jaw tightened, a muscle feathering along its line, but he finally stepped back, granting me a sliver of space. This conversation is not concluded, he said, the words a quiet promise. Then, louder, a moment, Marcus. I slipped past the imposing bodyguard, feeling the heat of Isaac's stare like a brand between my shoulder blades as I fled. In the staff bathroom, I locked the door and leaned against the sink, staring at the ghost pale, wide-eyed woman in the mirror. He knew, or he now possessed all the pieces to know. The baby kicked, a solid, reassuring thump, as if in protest. It's okay, I whispered to my reflection, the lie hollow. We're okay. I avoided him for the remainder of the day, a feat of sheer will. Leaving through the service entrance at dusk, the cold air was a slap. I was halfway to the corner when a black SUV with tinted windows slid soundlessly to the curb beside me. The rear window descended, revealing Marcus's impassive face. Miss Moore, Mr. Hayes would like a word. It was a statement that brooked no refusal. I weighed flight for a futile second. I need to get home. My sister. She will be informed of your delay. He pushed the door open. Please. The interior was a capsule of hushed luxury, smelling of leather and cold night. Marcus took Nina's details with quiet efficiency, then sat across from me, a silent monolith, as the city lights bled into the darkened countryside. We arrived not at the penthouse, but at a gated estate north of the city, a modern fortress of glass and stone set against the starless sky. Marcus led me to a great room where a fire roared in a floor-to-ceiling hearth, its warmth not reaching the chill inside me. He'll be with you shortly. When Isaac entered, he had shed his suit jacket and tie. Dressed in dark trousers and a simple black sweater, he looked younger, more approachable, and the resemblance to the man I'd met as Ian Holt was a physical ache. Are you hungry? He asked, the mundane question surreal. Why am I here, Mr. Hayes? Isaac, he corrected, moving to pour a glass of water. He brought it to me. I think you know. I don't want anything from you. A cold, brief smile. Then why infiltrate my household? I didn't infiltrate anything. I took a job. I needed the work. Of all the possible employers in this city, he said, settling into a chair opposite me, his gaze unyielding, you are placed in my home, while carrying a child conceived during the precise window of our encounter. He is my child, I stated, the correction automatic, defensive. His eyes darkened. So, you confirm the possibility. I'm stating a fact. This baby is mine. Mine to raise. Mine to protect. If this child is mine, he said, his voice dropping to a velvety, dangerous softness, then she is a Hayes. Do you have any conception of what that means? I did. It was the core of my terror. A Hayes heir would be born into a gilded labyrinth of privilege and peril, of legacy and unspoken rules, a world from which there was no simple exit. I understand you are a powerful man, I said, choosing each word with care. A man with enemies. I was trying to protect her from that world. And your solution was to deprive me of my own child? The edge in his voice was sharp enough to cut. I didn't know who you were. You lied to me. You vanished. When I found out the truth, I was already pregnant. And what I learned about Isaac Hayes, it terrified me. For her. A muscle ticked in his jaw. And what did you learn? I took a shaky breath. The fire popped. I learned that your business interests have deep roots. That people who oppose you tend to encounter significant obstacles. I read between the lines. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. And knowing that, you chose deception. Hiding in plain sight. Put so bluntly, it sounded like the strategy of a doomed, naive creature. But fear breeds desperate logic. I was afraid. I admit it. The truth finally laid bare. Not for me. For her. His gaze dropped then, to the gentle slope of my abdomen. Her. Something in his tone shifted, softened by a single degree. It's a girl. I found out last month. He went utterly still, his focus locked on that spot. The silence stretched, filled only by the crackle of the fire. When he spoke again, his voice was different, still controlled, but layered with something new, something like awe. You'll stay here tonight. We have arrangements to discuss, but you need rest. It was a decree. Before I could protest, he summoned a kind-faced woman named Anna, who led me to a guest suite of such silent luxury it felt like a dream. I sank onto the bed, and the tears came, silent and hot. I was not in a dungeon, but in a gilded cell. The distinction felt meaningless. He came himself in the morning with a breakfast tray, already dressed, his expression unreadable. Did you sleep? I nodded, feeling exposed in the borrowed silk robe.
Eat.
Then we talk. He stood at the window, his back to me. Why did you run? Once you knew. Why not come to me? Because I was terrified you'd take her from me. He turned, his expression one of stark incredulity. Take her? Men with your power, they get what they want. The world is arranged for them. If an heir was wanted without the complication of the mother. I couldn't finish. Is that what you believe I am? The question held a thread of something that sounded like genuine offense. I don't know you, I said, meeting his gaze. I know the legend, and that legend is formidable. He moved closer, looking down at me. And what does the legend say? That you are ruthless, unbending, that you protect your interests without hesitation in realms the law glances away from. A cold, acknowledging smile. All true. His blunt admission stole my breath. I was afraid for her, I whispered. His phone rang, a sharp intrusion. Stay here, he ordered and left. The moment the door shut, I was a creature of pure instinct, dressing in the borrowed clothes. But it was Marcus who entered as I laced my boots. Miss Moore, Mr. Hayes has been called away on urgent business. I am to take you home. He said he will be in contact. We'll be in contact. The phrase was a sword hanging by a thread. Back in Bridgeport, Nina absorbed the story with growing horror. You have to leave, Lena. Tonight. We'll figure it out. And go where? Live in fear for the next 20 years? He'll find me. And then any chance of negotiating anything, of having any say in her life, is gone. 3 days of taut silence followed. My return to work was an exercise in jumping at shadows. Then Marcus appeared again at the penthouse. "Mr. Hayes requests your presence tonight." A car at 7. The restaurant was intimate, a hidden gem in the Gold Coast. He rose as I was shown to his secluded booth. "You look well," he said, his eyes lingering on the emerald green wrap dress that accommodated my shape. "How are you feeling?" "She's active." "May I?" he asked, his hand hovering over the tablecloth. The request was so human it disarmed me. After a long moment, I nodded. He moved his chair beside mine. His hand was warm, his touch tentative as I guided it to where a tiny heel was pressing out. She kicked, a strong, deliberate push against his palm. His breath caught, and in his eyes was pure, unguarded wonder, an awe that stripped away the powerful veneer and left just a man meeting his child for the first time. "Your daughter," I whispered. The spell was broken by the waiter. When we were alone again, he was all business. "I've had you investigated, Lena. Thoroughly. I know about your parents, your grandmother, your degree. You're carrying my heir. I had a right to know. I am not your property." A faint, almost approving smile. There's the spirit I glimpsed that night. He grew solemn. "I've decided. The child is a Hayes. She will be raised as such, with all the privilege and protection that entails. You will move into the penthouse. You will have the best of everything: care, security, comfort. I won't give her up. I'm not asking you to. I am telling you how it will be. And if I refuse?" "Don't," he said, the single word a quiet, potent threat. "You have a choice in how smooth this transition is. The end result is not a choice. My daughter will be raised in my home. So, I am to be your prisoner. You are to be the mother of my child in the safety of my home. There is a difference." He leaned forward, his voice low. "A car will come tomorrow at noon. Pack what you wish to keep." The rest of the evening was a blur of silent despair and his cold phone calls about business. As I left, he caught my arm at the car door. "Lena, I know this is not what you wanted, but I swear to you, our daughter will want for nothing. Neither will you." The unexpected gentleness was more confusing than any threat. I pulled away without a word. Nina's face was a tragedy when I told her. "Dios, Lena. He'll own you. What choice do I have?" The next day, I packed a single suitcase. The car was punctual. The goodbye with Nina was a silent, tearful fracture. At the penthouse, I was no longer staff. The doorman greeted me by name. Marcus escorted me to a suite I'd only ever cleaned. It was a beautiful cage. A closet full of new clothes awaited. Anna brought tea. "The doctor will be here at 3. Dr. Chen was brisk and kind, pronouncing us both healthy. After she left, Isaac entered, having loosened his tie. "How are you settling?" "Dr. Chen says everything is fine. This doesn't have to be a prison." "What is it then?" "You are free to come and go, with security, for your protection, from the world you've built." "Yes," he said, without apology. "That is the reality. My father built this life to protect what's his. Sometimes that required harshness. I won't apologize for protecting what is mine." He met my eyes. "That includes you and her now. What happens? You will want for nothing. Your focus is your well-being and our daughter's. After she arrives, we'll see. I need to work. I need purpose." He considered it. "My charitable foundation is mismanaged. It was my mother's. It needs reorganization. Real work. Would you be interested?" It was a lifeline thrown across the chasm. "Yes." "Good." The work became my salvation, my tether to self. Days formed an uneasy new normal. Breakfasts grew less stilted. Nina's visits, though guarded, became less tense as she saw I was cared for, if not free. Weeks later, he told me he had to be away. A business situation. It could be dangerous. Security here is increased. A fear for him, sharp and startling, pierced me. When? Tomorrow. He saw my worry. If anything happens, you are both provided for. Don't say that. Why do you care, Lena? He asked softly. I don't know, I admitted. But I do. He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from my face. In another life, he murmured, we might have met differently. His lips met mine. A whisper, a question, not a demand. Be careful. Come back. He was gone for 4 tense days. He returned in the dead of night, pale, moving stiffly, a fresh cut on his temple. The relief was a physical pain. You're hurt. Nothing serious. A doctor was summoned, and I was gently dismissed. Over breakfast, the bruise on his jaw dark, I asked what happened. A rival. It's been handled. He saw my expression. This is who I am, Lena. I won't lie to you about it. Is this the world you want for her? I want her safe. Loved. She will have choices I never had. He reached across the table, covering my hand with his. I can't change my past, but I will spend my future trying to be worthy of her. Of you. As my due date neared, a nursery blossomed next to my rooms. He was present for everything, his usual intensity redirected into learning about crib safety and swaddling. I found him there once, alone, just staring at the empty crib, his hand on the rail, his face a canvas of awe and terror. The contraction came in the deep quiet of night. He was at my door before I'd lowered the phone. At the hospital, he never left my side, his calm a steady anchor in the storm of pain. And then she was there, placed on my chest, a tiny, perfect being with a shock of dark hair and a fierce cry. She's beautiful, he whispered, his voice rough, tears shimmering in his eyes. Perfect. Would you like to hold your daughter? With infinite, trembling care, I transferred her into his waiting arms. He cradled her as if she were made of light and glass, looking down with an expression of such pure, transformative love that it remade the very air in the room. Hello, little one, he breathed. I'm your father. Something seismic and permanent shifted inside me, watching them. Later, Nina visited, captivated by her niece. And him? She asked quietly, watching Isaac across the room, utterly engrossed in the sleeping baby. He was everything, I said simply. Do you love him? It's a complicated yes, I admitted. Someday, it might be a simple one. Before she left, Isaac came to my bedside, a small velvet box in his hand. For Lara, he said, sitting beside me. He opened it. A delicate diamond ring lay inside. And for you, this isn't a proposal. Not yet. It's a promise. To spend every day earning your trust. Your forgiveness. Your love, if you'll ever allow it. I can't wear it, I said softly. Not yet. Pain flashed in his eyes, but he nodded, accepting. It will wait. As I will. Alara stirred in her bassinet. We're a family now, he said, his gaze on her. However we began. A family, I echoed, as he lifted our daughter, holding her with a tenderness that belied every hard-edged rumor. I understood. My initial choice had been taken from me, but every choice from this moment forward, to trust, to stay, to love, would be my own. The future was unwritten, a path through shadow and light. But looking at them, our daughter cradled safely between us, I felt the first, fragile unfurling of peace. Not forgiveness, not forgetfulness, but possibility. Alara, our light, born from the darkness.